I hate how everything just doubled in price over a few years.
Yeah, man, I gotta agree with that. Everything seems to have gone up in price, except, of course, for your wage. Now quit complaining and get back to work! There, that was one of the dumbest moves in corporate media ever. I can only presume that they didn't think, many people were going to be using them. Morning, everybody. Sorry to be such a downer on this Friday. And now this video should be going out on July 26th if all goes well. Anyway, this is my weekly roundup of comments, questions, and all that. If you find it useful, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, because less than half the people who watch this show are actually subscribed. And I am trying to build this, and I do want to give away my Rev Generator Mark III at 600,000 subscribers. And I need you to help me make that happen. So hit the button. It doesn't cost you anything. And yes, I promise you will get something out of it. And what I've been doing the last few weeks, I've been doing a few pop culture recommendations, and I got a couple of interesting ones this week. So for film or television, I'd recommend the Battlestar Galactica reboot that came out, 2004, 2005, something like that. That series is one of my all-time favorites, simply one of the greatest sci-fi series ever fucking created. It was just magnificent on so many different levels. Just a great story. If you have several weeks to kill, I highly recommend checking out. It's simply fracking awesome. And for books, I'd say Enter Night by Mick Wall. It's a really cool Metallica bio. A lot of cool in-depth takes on things, especially just how badly Jason Newsted got treated in that band. Very, very interesting stuff indeed. Highly recommend it. Fantastic audiobook as well. Anyway, let's get to your comments and questions right now.
Hey Glenn, know any good alternatives to a quad Cortex that has emulated amps and effects?
Yeah, the IK Tonex pedal was fantastic. You now get like the Tonex one for dirt freaking cheap. I haven't reviewed that one yet, but apparently you can drop 3 amps onto it and it's really tiny, and that's great. Here's the thing about the effects part. I'm gonna actually recommend maybe some of the older processors, like maybe some of the original Line 6 effects processors, or hell, even some of those old Digitech units. Because when it came to doing, the reverbs and choruses and all that, that shit was absolutely fine. The only problem I had with those things was when they were trying to do high gain distorted amps. They were fucking terrible for that. But the time-based effects, those worked absolutely fine. And here's the thing, if they sounded good 10, 15 years ago, they still sound good today. So do yourself a favor, maybe go check out your local Facebook classifieds, Kijiji, or Craigslist or whatever. See what's available, and don't pay an awful lot of money for all those time-based effects, because you can get some really cool stuff for not a whole lot of money. Remember, you don't have to buy new, especially when it comes to that kind of stuff. The good sounding amp model thing is pretty recent, but the other effects, they nailed that shit ages ago.
Hey Glenn, what are your thoughts on MacBook Air Pro, not Pro, M3 16 gig memory? Will it be enough for sound editing / recording?
Funny you mention that. This has been my travel laptop for the last couple of years. This is an M1 MacBook Pro. Yeah, M1. I forget, I might have 32 gigs of RAM in here, but this thing has never let me down. It takes up no space. Oh, there it goes. It takes up no space. It weighs next to nothing. The battery lasts forever. And yeah, I can mix on this thing with no problem whatsoever. In fact, it's been featured on the show several times where I take a mix and say, go for a drive in the van and finish the mix in the car, just on the car stereo. This thing is absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, if you want to get the M3 or whatever, I'd highly recommend that, sure. But I don't know if I'd settle for the 16 gigs of RAM. Give me 1 second, let me double check that. Actually, I just pulled up my receipt from 2 years ago, and yes, this is indeed a 16 gig MacBook Air. And you know what? I haven't felt the need to replace it with anything more powerful. In fact, I edit 4K video on this thing with no problems whatsoever. Absolutely killer machine. I can only imagine the M3 MacBook is gonna be a killer piece of machinery as well. Now, you're talking to a guy who is an absolute die-hard PC fanatic, but I gotta say, Apple really got their shit together with the ARM chips. The new systems are just fantastic. I've got a video on that. It's either coming out or it will be out very, very shortly, and it's gonna be all the reasons why recording on a Mac these days is much better than a PC. Sorry, guys. It is what it is.
Hey Glenn, what's the bass tone and mixing you ever heard on an album?
Ooh, there's some good ones there. As for the absolute best, I don't have an absolute favorite. I do have some ones I really do enjoy, though. If you check out Doug Pinnick on King's X's Gretchen Goes to Nebraska song, in fact, it's called Over My Head. Check out the bass tone on that. That's just a clanking amazingness. Billy Gold on Faith No More is the Real Thing. That sounds absolutely phenomenal as well. Just a monster bass tone there. Let me see here. Steve Harris on Peace of Mind. And the bass on In Flames' Clayman is really amazing as well. Oh yeah, and Phil Swisher on Vote with a Bullet by Corrosion of Conformity. That's just deep and amazing. All kinds of awesome bass tones out there. Just gotta look. And if you're looking for an awesome bass tone, hey, get yourself a copy of Element Bass. It's on sale right now at Spectre Digital, and it winds up on all my records because it's just simply incredible. Links in the description below.
Hey Glenn, I'm getting the understanding in a lot of your video that producing a high gain guitar tone, a lot of the minute details of amplification and pickups are nullified by the high gain, and therefore making the speaker the most important part of the process due to the amount of power being pushed through.
Yeah, it's not just high gain, but whatever.
That being said, I'm a mere bassist, so I am more than likely misunderstanding something or another. Due to there being less gain in the bass sound, how would this transfer to creating a unique bass tone? I'm currently using different basses through the same Hartkey head and cab with a minimalist pedal board, and while I'm semi-content with the sound I've been getting through my comb, I always feel like they can be more refined.
Did you try using new bass strings? That's always my first recommendation, is if you want to improve your bass tone, change out the strings. Guarantee you're going to like the results. That is always my first recommendation for getting a great bass tone. Start with a great sounding bass, and that usually means buying new strings. There's just no way getting around it. And yeah, if you really want to experiment, once again, Element Bass, available at spectredigital.com. It's a 3-stage bass amp. There's all kinds of awesome presets in there. It's simply an amazing plugin. I use it on everything I do these days, and it's never let me down. It's definitely worth checking out. Links in the description below. In fact, I love Element Bass so much. Check this out. All right, real quick, today I'm proud to show you the ultimate bass amp sim, Element Bass. You've been hearing it on my show in mix after mix for well over a year now, and so many of you have asked, what's up with that bass tone? How do I get it? And the answer is one simple plugin, Element Bass. We've designed this from the ground up to get you an awesome tone right out of the box. There's no more wondering why the bass doesn't work in a mix. Element Bass has everything you need to get a mix-ready, crushing bottom end with zero guesswork. Discover ultimate flexibility with up to 3 parallel tone stacks, each with their own separate EQ, plus our one-of-a-kind stereo enhancer, compression, and an impulse response loader. You can craft your tone in ways that were never possible before. From pounding metal to blues to country and even jazz, every great mix needs an element. Get your copy today at spectredigital.com. Links in the description below. Now let's get back to the show. And now comes the part of the show I know you've been waiting for. This is the Butthurt of the Week.
Glenn's amp prices are always way off, like some other super rare amp. He made a video about that he thinks is available in spades. Wrong again! You don't find these for that price. He gets lucky and finds one for that price and then assumes that the internet's full of inventory. $325.65 for everyone. Wrong! I don't see one for sale under $600.
Hey DGS, thanks so much for writing in. I'm sorry you're having a hard time finding one for that price, but did you put any effort into your search, or did you just maybe look through one thing and go, oh, Glenn's wrong, because we all know it's far easier to sit around and bitch. Now, I did have a very snappy comeback lined up for you, but instead, I thought I'd check out a comment here from Augustine S1756, and I think he's got the best comeback of all.
Hey Glenn, I wanted to let you know that I followed your advice and got me a 6505 Plus combo for 275 pounds. In this case, the previous owner already swapped the speaker out for a Celestion Neo V type, which is good enough. In any case, killer deal, and I couldn't be happier. Best recommendation ever.
Well, Augustine, thank you so much, man. I'm so glad I could be of help. I've never actually recorded a Neo V type, so I don't know if that's any good or not, but if it's getting good results, that's cool, but don't be afraid to upgrade that down the road if you do want to change. Remember, change your speaker, not your amp. And back to DJS, I don't know, try paying attention to your local market, and most of all, and I say this very clearly, be patient. Keep your eyes open on your Craigslist, your Facebook Marketplace, eBay, Reverb, all that. Be patient, and then make a reasonable offer, and don't get ripped off. But there are tons of those old 6505 combos out there kicking around that a lot of people just aren't using, and they are phenomenal amps. Just be patient, you'll get one.
I sometimes hear you mention, learn the effing song and know your changes, but where's the fine line between before mentioned and be real and genuine, stop syncing stuff in post? Genuine question here to understand the difference. Don't worry, I plan to record anything time soon, other than a few backing track butchered songs. Yeah, I'm a bass player.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, okay, what's going on here, Bishop, is really simple. When I say learn the songs is That way, when you come into the studio, you can actually perform the song without having to stop every 3 seconds because there's a change. Like I've seen so many bass recording sessions go down in here over the years where the people just don't know the song. I've thrown many a bass player out of the studio because I'm interested in making music and not watching somebody fuck up their way through their track. I would rather have somebody know the song and be able to play it all the way through, maybe not exactly perfect, than have something time-aligned and absolutely perfect, because perfect is fucking boring and it fucking sucks.
It's not just Facebook's page formatting, it's also their algorithms forcing everything into echo chambers. It only advertises bands to other bands and musicians. MySpace advertised everything to everyone because they weren't so obsessed with targeted advertising.
Dude, I think that's a phenomenal observation. I didn't even realize that. Of course, you're referencing my video I put out a couple weeks ago called How Facebook Destroyed Music. You're absolutely right. Yeah, Facebook does tend to funnel people into echo chambers. And boy, they do not like new opinions. That's for sure. I don't even bother with Facebook anymore because anytime I post things, I just get flamed. It's like, yeah, I'm sorry, I can think for myself, guys. I really apologize for that, but I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, that's fucking awesome when I don't think it is. As far as I'm concerned, Facebook is a lost cause. I'm really hoping something comes along that puts its foot up Facebook's ass, because I think the world would be a better place without it.
What's the point in making music if you're going to play it safe and be derivative of some other band? I'm a novice writer, so I don't know how original my stuff is, but don't be afraid of what you can make.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. What is the point if you're just being derivative? Get more influences. Find your own thing.
Hot or Not site lets you rate songs like old GarageBand did and can discover some cool stuff. Facebook is full of music ad scams. Bandcamp is my favorite place to post and discover new music.
Okay, cool. You know what? I don't mind Bandcamp, but I get a lot of mixes sent to me, and Bandcamp really does destroy the top end. I mean, the cymbals just like chorus on pretty much everything, and it just sounds fucking horrible. That's a real shame. I really hope Bandcamp increases their bandwidth limits, because really, bandwidth doesn't cost a lot these days, and I think they're being unnecessarily cheap. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
I can't remember the episode, but I thought I heard Glenn say that those radial Reamp boxes have issues. I was wondering what those were. I have them, and they seem to work, but curious if I should be looking to upgrade to the United stuff he mentions.
Hey, Big Masher. The problem is the radio stuff, in particular the X amp, is really good at passing a clean signal, but it does not pass high gain very well. If you pull it up in Room EQ Wizard, if you start taking a look at the harmonics, there's a great big hole in the third harmonic right at like 500 hertz, one of the places where your ear is most sensitive to distorted tones. And when I've reamped it, it always seemed like it was kind of missing something. This is the United box, and this thing just fucking rips. If you're looking to upgrade, and you do a lot of reamping, this is the one to get, folks. They're not paying me to say that in this episode. I just really like this box. Chad Kelly, the designer, he's been a friend of mine for a while. This whole thing got started because James Murphy, you guys might know James from Obituary, Testament, and Death. I was over at his place, and he had one of Chad's prototype boxes, and I'm like, oh, what's that? So he put me in touch with Chad. Chad sent me a prototype, and I'm like, it's cool, but can you make it louder? And then Chad went and did, the Signal Art reamps, and he did those for years, and they became so popular. United decided to put it out, so it went from being the Signal Art to the United replay box, and this is the box to get, folks. This thing is just awesome. Ooh, it's even cold to the touch because the whole body's a heatsink. That's fucking cool. Get one, you won't regret it. You just cannot go wrong with this thing. As Beavis and Butthead would say, there is none higher.
Hey Glenn, I recently learned about the whole thing of using two reverbs. Yay! However, how would you effectively use them? Stacked on top of each other or independently? Also, what would the two reverbs be doing with each other? One bigger, one smaller? Give it a crash course. Thank you to Hasavitu from Finland.
Hey, Hasavitu to you too. I think that means fuck you. The two reverbs, I'm really not sure exactly what you're using them for. If I'm going to use two reverbs, one's going to be like on the drums and one's going to be on the vocals, and they're going to be different sounds so they don't occupy the same soundscape. At least that's how I do it. I don't think I'd have one running into another. Maybe somebody could clue me into what he's getting at. Leave a comment below. Maybe we can all learn from this, because hey, I'll be the first to admit I do not know everything when it comes to this shit. I know what I know. I try and pass on what I learn, but I am always down to learn new techniques.
MySpace could become big again if they'd sell it to someone who isn't an idiot. They can literally just move back to their old style with modern coding, and people will flood back to it.
You might have a point. I mean, that was the thing. They sold MySpace to Fox, and that kind of killed everything. And then they decided to make everybody start all over again because that'll be so much better. And that killed it dead right there. That was one of the dumbest moves in corporate media ever. That was I think that's one of the things that went wrong is, MySpace went from this cool independent thing to being corporate owned, and everybody just realized it sucked. Of course, what do? We go over to Facebook and turn that into one of the biggest corporations on earth. Yeah, you know what? I think it's time for a new social network for music, because what we got right now sucks.
I have a Marshall Code 50. What a piece of crap. It sounds terrible. I don't even use the model's turn amp button off. In my heart of hearts, I want a Mesa Boogie, but can't afford one for the moment. So I thought I would upgrade the speaker in the Marshall. I could go for one of the full-range live Ponke speakers that are for model amps, or I'd opt for something like a Greenback. What are your thoughts?
Get rid of the Code 50 as fast as you possibly can. I did a review on one several years ago. I think it was the Code 25. It was just god-awful. Yeah, we hammered of truth that one right off a fucking roof. It was so terrible. Seriously, it was just one of the worst amps I've ever fucking played. Don't say you weren't warned, okay? Just because it says Marshall on it doesn't mean it's going to sound good. Case in point, the Code series. They're just fucking terrible. My advice would just be get rid of it as soon as you can. Save your money. Start looking for a 6505 plus combo and change the speaker in that. You're going to get infinitely better results than that piece of shit Code will ever give you. Just don't do it. Don't use it. Get rid of it. That's the best advice I can give you. Good luck and good hunting. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm going to have another video coming up, maybe even this week or next week, on another really awesome bargain basement amp that's not going to cost you a whole lot of money, that just gives you ripping tone. Stay tuned for that one. And oh yeah, and if you haven't, hit the fucking subscribe button. Jeez, all you got to do is hit the button. It's free and you will get something out of it, because I love making low budget recommendations that give you amazing results for not a whole lot of money. Why wouldn't you hit subscribe? Oh, but I don't like the way he does it. Oh, fucking grow a pair.
Glad a few months ago you suggested a viewer invest in a direct box. Never a bad idea in order to combat this Focusrite sound of his interface when tracking guitars. I'm curious what that sound is, and how adding an extra transformer to the signal chain would help, considering it still has to run through the same offending Focusrite preamp and conversion harder. Not to be a nudge and keep asking, but I do have an old Focusrite like pre-Scarlett, and my direct DIs never seem to have any snap, sparkle, or shine, and I'm worried that I'm trying to ice skate with this interface.
Okay, I don't think the preamps are the issue. I think we figured out clean mic preamps quite a while ago. I think I know which Focusrite unit you're talking about. It's fairly decent as far as I'm concerned, but the DIs did leave something to be desired. I can only presume that they didn't think many people were going to be using them. The DIs on those, that's kind of the weak point on the Focusrite units, especially the Scarletts and the ones before them. They didn't have a lot of headroom, blah, blah, fucking blah. You definitely cannot go wrong from getting a direct box. Like, I'm just checking this out right now. This is the United Vintage Direct. Hell, they sent me this. I haven't even done an episode on this. I haven't even tried it out yet. But if it's made by Chad, there's a very good chance it's going to be pretty fucking sick. Oh, wow. This has got attenuation, phase, and ground lift, and, ooh, even an output. Oh, for extra headroom. How fucking cool is that? Oh, that's sick. I've never seen that before. Wow. Yeah, you could take one of these and hook this up to your Focusrite preamp. You'll probably get a much cleaner sound. That's the thing. These things are designed to be as clean as possible and just give you the sound off your pickups. If you haven't got a direct box yet, what the fuck are you doing? Stop wasting your time. Go buy one, you cheap fucks. Seriously, start with a good source, then worry about the rest of the shit later. Oh, and speaking of humping doorknobs, check out this last comment.
Tone is all in the pickups. If your pickups suck, even the best speakers are gonna sound like suck.
Shaylock, nothing could be further from the truth. The difference between good pickups and bad pickups is how much they feed back. That's it. Some are a little hotter than others, some are a little quieter than others. They don't shape the tone, the speaker does. Can't say it any more clearly. I keep hearing this, oh, tones in the pickups, yet I'm not seeing any fucking evidence to prove that. Where somebody swaps a pickup out over and over and over and over again with nothing else being changed, mind you. Look, we've done the test. We've shown pickup after pickup after pickup in the same guitar with that cream tea we did a couple years ago, and the tone shifted about that fucking much. I'm sorry, but what you're repeating isn't true in the slightest. Ignore that at your own will and at the expense of your own wallet. All right, guys, that's it for the show. Once again, if you haven't hit the fucking subscribe button, just do it already. I need your help to grow this thing, and I promise you, it will be worth your time watching the show, because I love making cheap recommendations for stuff you can get out there that gives you great results and isn't going to break the bank. But it's just not bargain gear. I mean, like, hey, I did get this today in the mail as well. This is the Eventide Omnipressor. Ooh, can't wait to check this one out. This thing's going to be sick. So there's affordable stuff, there's expensive stuff, there's the really expensive stuff, and everything in between. But I promise you this, I will always give you my honest opinion about what I think is good and what I think is bad. Because I have to look myself in the mirror every single morning and remember, I need to be honest with the people watching my show. Anyway, thanks so much for all your support, guys. And if you haven't grabbed Element Bass, links in the description below. It will step up your bottom end game on your mixes. You just can't go wrong with it. Get your copy today. Thanks so much for watching. All right, that's it. Now get the fuck out of here. Sorry, Ziz. Just, yeah, don't pay attention here. If you check out Doug McKinnock's, really hoping something comes along that puts its foot up. It's as Beavis and Butthead would have. Good luck, man. Go hunting. Yeah. They're